Dear friends, as we know, the whole world, including our country, are reeling under the ill effects of COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, bringing all the institutions and administrative organs to a standstill. In spite of this crisis did not deter the political mechanizations in our country. We have been observing for the last more than 10 days the high political drama or the developments which are being taken place or being enacted in state of Rajasthan. In view of this volatile political situation, now there is an intense debate about what is parliamentary democracy and what happened to anti-defection law. Whether they are able to curtail this kind of unconstitutional methods of throwing down the governments. And on this occasion I would like to share my views how the parliamentary democracy works and why the anti-defection law came into force and how they are being subverted or distorted and diluted to gain political power by illegal means. As you know well, that this development in Rajasthan, where the elected government is under the threat of losing power, has become a hot topic of headlines in all print and electronic media, pushing the crisis of COVID-19 and also the China incursion into the background. There is intense debate as to how the defection law was being subverted and distorted to usurp power by dethroning the duly elected governments by foul and illegal methods. And in recent times, we have observed and saw that how the mandate of the people was totally distorted and subverted by illegal and immoral methods of inducements to the elected MLAs to defect from one political party to another political party in the state like Goa, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur and Gujarat, where the people's mandate was distorted and the MLAs were defected to other parties by way of inducements or by way of gratifications, and the party which was not given mandate or authored by the people have assumed the office of power by backdoor methods. Likewise, even in the midst of COVID-19, we have observed in the month of March, the ruling party at the center made the elected government in Madhya Pradesh to crumble by illegal gratifications, by making group of legislators to defect to their party and installed their own government, throwing all the parliamentary and democratic principles to the wind. Now we have seen the benefit that they reaped by defection. Jyotirao Scindia has got elevated to Rajya Sabha, and many of his friends who are defected to the BJP got ministerial beds. Now the same is being reenacted in Rajasthan state. In this situation, the point for consideration and discussion all over India is that how the parliamentary democracy functions and how the anti-defection law was introduced and came into force and with what purpose, how they are being distorted and how they are being thrown to winds. Ours is a democratic, socialistic and secular republic. And so a republic, democracy which is popularly defined as government of the people, by the people and for the people, in the words of Abraham Lincoln. The father of Indian Constitution, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, elaborated the same definition by saying democracy is a mode of associated living. The roots of democracy, the roots of democracy are to be searched in social relationship in terms of associated life between the people who formed the society. According to him, the democracy means fundamental changes in social and economic life of the people and acceptance of such changes by the three categories of democracy, by changes in social and economic life of the people and acceptance of such changes by the people without resorting to disputes and bloodshed. He stressed on three categories of democracy in India, and they are political democracy, social democracy, and economic democracy. According to him, social and economic democracy are the tissues and fiber of a political democracy. The tougher the tissue and fiber, the greater the strength of the body. The success of the parliamentary democracy depends on these three important pillars. Further, Baba Saheb Ambedkar said, democracy should establish the principle of one man, one vote, and one value in all walks of life. He categorically stated that we must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. Political democracy cannot last long unless there lies at the base of it a social democracy. Baba Saheb Ambedkar said, in a parliamentary democracy, there is legislature to express the voice of the people. There is executive, which is subordinate to the legislature and bound to obey the legislature. And over and above the legislature and executive, there is the judiciary to control both of them and keep them within the prescribed bounds. He further said, parliamentary system of government is much more than government by discussion. It is negation to hereditary rule. Whoever wants to rule must be elected by the people from time to time. He must obtain the approval of the people. Parliamentary democracy to be successful, the condition precedents according to Baba Saheb are: one is the existence of an effective opposition. Dissent is the essence of democracy. He said, democracy means a veto power. Democracy requires that not only the government should be subject to veto, long-term veto of 5 years at the hands of the people, but there must be an immediate veto. For this, there must be an opposition in the parliament or in the legislature to challenge the government. Second one is the free and fair elections. It must be ensured that the elections are conducted in a free and fair manner to reflect the mandate of the people in electing the government. There should not be any subversion, distortion of the mandate of the people reflected in the electing the government for a specific period. In our country, it is a period of 5 years. According to him, parliamentary democracy is voting by the people in favor of their owners and handing over the rights of ruling over themselves. Democracy means empowerment of any person or participating in the process of decision making relating to him or her. Democracy means liberty, equality, and fraternity. Without social and economic democracy, political democracy cannot succeed. The democracy essentially consists of social equalities in the economic welfare of men living in a particular society besides its realization of political relation. Thus, the essence of parliamentary democracy is to establish state socialism, avoiding dictatorship, to safeguard individual liberty, and to make sure that law of the land, that is the Constitution of India, prevailed to save both democracy and socialism. In the parliamentary democracy, the governments are elected for a fixed period of time, and the people will judge its performance in the next election. The elected governments are supposed to complete its elected term unless there is a grave violation of Constitution or any other severe wrong or crisis calling for a dissolution of the House. In order to ensure the stability of elected government, the anti-defection law was enacted and enforced. The process of defection of the elected representatives from one party to another came into focus in the year 1967 when one Gayalal, MLA, Haryana, defected and changed his party affiliations and obligations thrice in a day, which shot into prominence as Ayaram Gayaram. The defection from one party to another is due to either reward of office or gratifications or inducements or any other monetary considerations. Over a period of time, the defection has become a routine process, defying and defeating the very object of the parliamentary democracy. In the wake of the present political crisis in Rajasthan and issuing of notices of disqualification to the rebel MLAs and the matter being agitated in the High Court, the issue of disqualification and the provisions of anti-defection law came into public domain for discussion. The constitutional provisions which deals with the disqualification of the member of Legislative Assembly or Council of a State is mentioned in Article 191 of the Constitution. 191 of the Constitution. Further, the statutory disqualification of a member is mentioned in Clause 2 of Article 191. States that a person will be disqualified for being a member of the Legislative Assembly or the Council of the State if so disqualified under the 10th schedule of the Constitution. The 10th schedule was added to the Constitution on 1/3/1985, which lays down the process by which the legislators may be disqualified on the grounds of the defection by presiding officer based on a petition by any member of the House. A legislator, paragraph 2 of the 10th schedule gives an explanation relating to the disqualification of on the grounds of defection, namely, if he has voluntarily given up his membership of such a political party or the party from which the member contested and elected and became the member of the House, and second, if he votes or abstains from voting in such House contrary to the direction issued by his party or by any person authorized by the said party in this behalf without obtaining prior permission from such political party or the person or the authority, and such voting or abstention has not been condoned by such political party, person or authority within 15 days from the date of such voting or abstention from voting. However, there are exceptional circumstances where the anti-defection law is not attractive, or the legislators may change their party without the risk of incurring disqualification or using of their post. In case of at least 2/3 of the total legislators elected on a particular party ticket or symbol got separated from their parent party and merged with another party, they will not incur any disqualification as members of their House. The phrase voluntarily given up his membership has got wider connotations than resignation. A person may voluntarily give up his membership of a political party even though he has not tendered resignation from the membership of that party. Even the options of formal resignation from the membership, an inference can be drawn from the conduct of a member that he has voluntarily given up his membership of the political party to which he belongs, as per the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court in Ravi S. Naik versus Union of India, reported in 1994, supplementary to SCC 641 page. In other judgments, members who have publicly expressed opposition to their party or supported another party were deemed to have been resigned and voluntarily given up their membership. Thus, the act of voluntarily giving up membership of a political party may be either expressed or implied. The burden of proof lies on the member to show that he has no intention to give up membership. He has no intention to give up membership of a political party against whom disqualification proceedings are initiated by the concerned Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House has to decide the question of disqualification. The decision of the Speaker must be in consonance with the basic conduct and actions taken by the member, which may amount to voluntarily giving up his membership. This legal position was reiterated by the Apex Court in a recent judgment on 19/3/2020 in Ramchandra Prasad Singh versus Sharad Yadav. The law does not specify a time period for the presiding officer of the state to decide on the disqualification plea. Given that the court can intervene only after presiding officers have decided on the matter, the petitioner seeking disqualification has no option but to wait for the decision to be made. In some cases, because of the delaying in deciding such disqualification, petitions by the presiding officers resulted in the defected members continuing to enjoy not only their membership of the House but also ministerial positions, as happened in Andhra Pradesh in the last year, where Telugu Desam, Andhra Pradesh and also Telangana state where MLAs elected on YSRCP ticket were defected to Telugudesam party and got ministerial base. So also in Telangana, where 2/3 of elected TDP MLAs were defected to TRS and enjoyed not only the membership of the House, but also the ministerial positions till the houses were dissolved after ordering fresh elections. Thus, the parliamentary democracy and anti-defection law are put to severe stress and test nowadays, and the principles and laws are being distorted and subverted to dethrone the elected governments, making mockery of the mandate of the people by dubious methods, which is antithesis of the very foundation of the democratic form of government. Unfortunately, the people who are supposed to respect and protect the institutions are indulging in harsh trading of legislators by various sops and inducements, and in some cases administering threats by misusing the institutions like CBI and ED to make the legislators to toe their line by encouraging group defections to come to power by removing the elected government from office, and in some cases making elected legislators to resign their membership and thereby reducing the majority of the incumbent government in the House, leading to fall of the government to enable their party to come to the office at the next single largest party in the House and conduct re-elections and get their people elected in the place of the vacant seats by misusing power and office to cobble up majority, as was happened as we have seen in Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh respectively. Now the same scene is being reenacted in Rajasthan, which is not at all in the interest of the democratic and constitutional spirit and constitutional fabric, social fabric of India. In parliamentary democracy, both the ruling and opposition party should exist and play their due role to sustain and to develop and for the progress of the democratic system. This kind of fraudulent and anti-constitutional acts of engineering defections will cut the very root of the democratic system. The judiciary, which has to play its sacred role of upholding law of the land and the constitution in defeating this kind of subversive and destructive ways of doing the things by selfish political elements, and it has to protect the law of the land, lest the slowly parliamentary democracy may be replaced by an authoritarian and dictatorial forces, which is not at all good for a diverse country like ours. Therefore, one should see the development, the political developments which have been taking place in the last recent few years, that they are antithesis of democracy, and these tendencies should not be encouraged. And these tendencies are very harmful to the growth of the democracy, parliamentary democratic system, parliamentary form of the government, and the constitutional spirit. And therefore, this is the right time that people should raise voice from all walks of life against this sort of dubious tendencies to dethrone the elected governments even before their term was completed. And this should not be encouraged. If this becomes an order of the day, no wonder very soon we will see that the parliamentary democracy may be replaced by an authoritarian rule, which is not at all good for the development of this country, which consists of many cultures, many races, and many regions and many languages. We are proud of our unity in diversity. But if an authoritarian rule comes into picture or take over the control of the country, and there will be total anarchy. And therefore, it is my humble request to all the democratic and secular forces and also the constitutional lovers to come together and fight against this kind of fascist tendencies which are now rearing their ugly head by defeating the very purpose of constitutional democracy. Thank you very much.